The history books, at least the ones that we currently have, are full of stories of inspirational leaders who go above and beyond, defy all odds, and make civilization wondrous, a victory glorious, or company shareholders. Of course, the history books are, as we're sadly all too aware, also written by the victors. The cave dweller known as Og the Wise may well have become the leader of their clan not because they were wise, but because they had the biggest stick and thwacked Ugg the Pathetic with it. A name that wasn't chosen because Ugg was in fact pathetic, but because Og wanted the history books to know less about the big stick and more about how superior they were to Ugg. For centuries, imperialistic colonizers and missionaries were portrayed by the history books as bringing culture, order, and God to quote-unquote save the heathen. It's only in recent years that we've learned that characterization was far from the truth, even if mainly conservative lawmakers in some parts of the world are trying to dismiss history they don't like by painting metaphorical smiley faces on the bloodstains of those not here to give their account of what actually happened. In today's business world, it's a slightly different type of a victor who writes the history books. Not history books that cover who it whom with a big stick, but rather which company gained the biggest market share, which CEO was the most visionary, and which company made their shareholders the most cash. On Wall Street, that last one is very important. It's the reason why company CEOs are able to attract such high compensation packages, often earning orders of magnitude more than their regular employees do, either through unimaginably high six-figure salaries, or more likely, when the company is doing really well, through massive stock options that allow the CEO to buy stock at an extremely preferential rate, only then to dump the stock and make a killing when things are going great. CEOs know that when things are going well, they can ask for more money or better compensation. More shares equals more control over the company, which means it's more likely that you'll get to do what you want with the company. It's also why so many companies tie remuneration or shares for their top executives to how well the company's doing. If you are CEO and you meet all of the goals, you can expect to have a very nice payout. If you don't, then not only do your existing shares lose value, but you might not get that bonus. Sometimes, when things are going well, CEOs will place additional demands on the board, using their success to bargain for more than the board initially wants to give them. Sometimes those demands are fairly benign. Sometimes they're more like threats, and this week, Elon Musk did the latter at Tesla, publicly stating on X that if he didn't get a 25% voting control at the company, he would be, quote, uncomfortable growing Tesla to be a leader in AI and robotics, end quote. He went on to say that if that didn't happen, he would, quote, prefer to build products outside of Tesla, end quote. And that's quite the demand. So today we're going to dig a little into that and ask just what is going on. Before I get into today's video, let's put something on the table. It doesn't matter what I say in this video, people will be upset, either because people will feel that we're not being harsh enough or that we are being too harsh. But in covering this topic, we will need to delve into some of the more recent actions and choices of Elon Musk, and I am personally going to do my best to deal in facts rather than opinion until the very end of the video, when I'll share some of my personal views on this all. And look, if you are someone screaming in the comments about how terrible we are and how we should all be sitting on the Group W bench, go right ahead. Engagement is engagement. First, let's deal with exactly what happened on X on Monday. There had been some discussion on X over Elon Musk's current compensation package, as well as some discussion of the previous remuneration package as granted to Musk by Tesla in 2018. It was in response to some of that discussion that Elon Musk weighed in, but let's explain the earlier remuneration package before we get there. In 2018, Tesla's board and shareholders agreed upon a record-breaking compensation package for Elon Musk at Tesla's 2018 special meeting of Tesla Inc. shareholders. I'll link to the original SEC filing in the description below. That deal was split into 12 different tranches of stock issuance to Elon Musk that were contingent on Tesla's hitting specific milestones. If all of the milestones were hit, he would end up with what was estimated at the time to be just shy of $56 billion in stock, although I should note by November last year that value had dropped a little to about $50 billion. While the majority of stockholders approved Musk's compensation package, some didn't, which led to a group of investors taking Tesla to court in the state of Delaware, accusing Tesla of breaching its fiduciary duties by being wasteful with company funds and by accusing Elon Musk of unjust enrichment. That case has crawled through the legal system, and while it was certified as a class action 3 years ago, we're still waiting for an official verdict from the Delaware Chancery Court, which is where Elon Musk's interaction with the thread on Monday took place. Responding to one of the discussion threads, Elon Musk said, quote, "I am uncomfortable growing Tesla to be a leader in AI and robotics without having approximately 25% voting control, enough to be influential, but not so much that I can't be overturned. Unless that is the case, I would prefer to build products outside of Tesla. You don't understand," end quote. He went on to respond to his own post by adding, quote, "I should note that the Tesla board is great. The reason for no new compensation plan is that we are still waiting for a decision in my Delaware compensation case. The trial for that was held in 2022, but a verdict has yet to be made. I put compensation plan in quotes because from my standpoint, this is primarily about ensuring the right amount of voting influence at Tesla. If I have 25%, it means I am influential, but it can be overridden if twice as many shareholders vote against me versus for me. At 15% or lower, the for against ratio to override me makes a takeover by dubious interests too easy. I would be fine with a dual-class voting structure to achieve this, but I am told it is impossible to achieve post-IPO in Delaware," end quote. I am aware that this discussion carried on for some time after this post, and I'm going to link to the thread for people who want to follow along. But the gist of the message appears pretty clear. Elon Musk currently feels that he does not have enough voting control over what Tesla does, and without additional voting control, he'd likely not want to help Tesla continue to develop artificial intelligence at the company. And that's a big deal. Not only is AI at the heart of Tesla's push towards autonomous vehicles and robotaxis, a project that's nearly a decade behind Elon Musk's own stated schedule, Tesla has developed its own silicon manufacturing and chip architecture for use in its vehicles, as well as its now famous Dojo supercomputer. It also puts into question some of Elon Musk's previous statements on how he sees Tesla, and I'm paraphrasing here, as a leader in AI and software, even ahead of Tesla's electric vehicle and renewable energy goals. As Morgan Stanley said last year, Tesla's Dojo supercomputer could boost Tesla's market value by as much as $600 billion if it successfully develops AI models that could accelerate the development of self-driving vehicles. So Elon Musk threatening to take future AI development elsewhere is very troubling for Tesla's shareholders and fans. But it is also something of a power play on Elon Musk's part. As I said at the start, history is written by the victors. And when a company is revolutionary or develops a revolutionary product, it, despite whatever flaws said company or leadership structure might have, it tends to get a pass in other areas, as does its CEO. And Apple is a prime example here. The late Steve Jobs was, to all intents and purposes, very similar to Elon Musk in the way he ran things. And while experts do disagree on if Elon Musk and Steve Jobs are the same or different personality types, tales of working with both men are shockingly similar. Both have been described as difficult to work with due to their demanding behaviour, their tendency to shout at subordinates, and their expectation that staff go above and beyond in their commitment to the firm, requiring them to work insanely long hours, being constantly on call all hours of the day and night, and requiring them to have a very poor work-life balance. Steve Jobs was, according to most accounts, quite the monster. And his management style and personality was in fact one of the many reasons Apple ended up firing him in the early 1990s. Even after Steve Jobs was brought back into the company in the late 90s to resume control until his untimely death, there were effectively two Steve Jobs. The one that came out on stage promising wondrous new gadgets and computers, and the incredibly toxic leader who often crossed the line of what a boss should ask of their staff. Yet, because the products Apple were producing were considered revolutionary and amazing, pretty much everything else was forgotten. Even when Chinese factories responsible for manufacturing some of Apple's most iconic products came under severe scrutiny for poor working conditions and worker suicides, and when Apple continuously fought against the right to repair, many continued to support the firm. And while I want to keep my personal opinions on Elon Musk's recent X posts until the end of this video, I also feel right now that it would be completely disingenuous to not note here that yes, I deserve to be called out for using Apple products then and still to this day. I am a vocal supporter of the right to repair, and I really do not like the way that Apple has and still does treat its staff and some of its customers. I've thought long and hard about switching away from Apple products, and I would frankly like to switch to an alternative. But the reality is, much like the Starlink dishy sitting on the roof of my home, and believe me, I would love to use an alternative fast internet connection for downloading the B-roll that we use on this channel, there are currently no open source, completely right to repair solutions available today in the editing world that would allow us to continue making YouTube content as effectively and as efficiently as we currently do. I hate it, and in fact that is why I work hard to hack and circumvent controls in products that I own, and why, in Apple's case, I try very hard to keep equipment I already own running for as long as possible, while also being vocal in my opposition to Apple's attempts, for example, to get some of its staff from San Francisco to move to Texas, where many of them no longer have the rights that they deserve to have. But that is most certainly well out of the remit of this video. Which brings me to what actually has been going on with Tesla and how some things don't necessarily add up in what Elon Musk has been saying. I'll explain. Right now, Elon Musk owns about 13% of Tesla. He is still the largest individual shareholder in the company, but his shareholding today is substantially less than it was just a few years ago, before he sold off a sizable amount of his stock to ostensibly fund the $44 billion purchase of the social media platform X. While he argues that he feels it's too easy to be overruled with his current shareholding, and is very frank about his desire to effectively increase his resistance to being ousted, we also have to ask why now, and why this way. The first obvious reason, I think, is that while Elon Musk does still have a lot of support from Tesla fans who are Tesla shareholders, public sentiment towards Elon Musk has shifted in the last 5 years. And it's not been helped by that purchase of X. It hasn't turned out to be a particularly sound financial decision for him, and while it could be argued that his purchase of X has helped cement his voice front and centre on the platform, the resulting decisions made by Elon Musk on how the platform should be run and who should be on it has, as numerous studies and investigative pieces have proven, led to a rise in right-wing rhetoric, increased attacks on minorities, increasing the spread of misinformation, and generally making what was a reasonably nice place to be when it was founded years ago to be a place full of spam, scammers, and outright hate. Don't worry, I'm going to link to some articles in the show notes. In discussing the purchase of X, we also cannot ignore Elon Musk's political migration. Some people watching will argue the migration hasn't been of Elon Musk, but rather the quote-unquote woke left, something that Elon is crusading against. But the reality is that in the last 12 months or so, he's either amplified the thoughts of others or publicly made statements of his own volition that are in line with current conservative right, other than any other political affiliation. And that decision to amplify bigoted voices has caused companies to leave X, cancel their ad spends, and see X become more of a shithole. And I'm sorry, I genuinely don't have a better word to use at that point. I mentioned Steve Jobs earlier in this video because Elon Musk has that same fabled ability to create a reality distortion field whenever he talks. There are things Elon Musk has said in the past that frankly would have been completely laughed at or questioned had they been said or promised by somebody else. He has that incredible ability to make a lot of hype. And the history books at Tesla are full of things that Elon Musk has said, from when we'll see self-driving cars to promises of new vehicles that haven't become reality when he said they would. Yet at the same time, people still believe in the companies he runs and the products he promises. He still has overwhelming support among many of the retail investors in Tesla, partly because of that reality distortion field, and partly because many of those retail investors are fans of Tesla and Elon, and are also Tesla customers. I've talked to many of them over the years, and for some, although not all, there's unwavering support that you would not find in any other publicly traded companies. You're not just a shareholder of Tesla. You're buying into the vision and the dream, and yeah, the mythology as well. My wife, Mary Kate, not the same Kate that you normally see on screen, while she has worked in IT all of her professional career, actually has a degree in religious studies. Not because she herself was religious, but because she wanted to, in her own words, understand why people do bad things to each other in the name of their religion. So think of her degree as being more anthropological rather than theological. She and I have talked at great length before on long road trips about the mythology surrounding Tesla and Elon Musk, and the correlations between those and some of the oldest character archetypes in history and religion, which is why I started this piece the way I did. Rightly or wrongly, Elon Musk has a mythology, and that's one of the reasons why he has still got such high support among fans, owners, and specifically to this video, owners and fans who are also retail shareholders. With that support among shareholders and a board which generally broadly follows Elon Musk's desires in the way it votes and governs Tesla, why on earth does Elon Musk actually need more control at the company? He's publicly stated that there's no beef with the board, and that decision of future packages are on hold for no reason other than the pending litigation in Delaware. So there's certainly no expectation that he's about to be ousted. That said, we've certainly seen more evidence recently of more shareholders expressing frustration and or disappointment with Elon Musk's behaviour outside of Tesla. And look, again, the editorial team at this channel has made a post and been explicit in our calling for Elon Musk to either step down or be replaced because his behaviour outside of Tesla is impacting the company. But Elon Musk's demand this week for more voting power? That is unexpected and possibly disturbing. It suggests either fear on his part that something terrible this way cometh, or an actual rumbling at the firm that people are starting to tire of his reality distortion field and off-campus extracurricular behaviour. But Elon Musk is no fool, and I'm guessing he's also done some calculations to figure out just how much control he truly has at the firm and how much of a shareholding he'd need to carry him over any potential hostile action. We've no demonstrable proof of any attempted coup, but if you were in control of something and you wanted to stay in control of it, and you feared you'd lose control, wouldn't you want to try and shore up your support? And again, while reports have not been corroborated, there's plenty of reporting of late suggesting growing unrest among both institutional investors and unnamed board members about everything from what Elon Musk says on X through to alleged drug use. But at this point, I want to be clear, some of the sensationalist reporting over Elon Musk using weed seems incredibly hyperbolic. Especially when, as Kate Walton-Elliott noted in a company meeting last week, some of the outlets clutching at their pearls over alleged recreational drug use didn't bat an eyelid over some of the far more dangerous and damaging things Elon Musk has said and done in recent months. Is it instead about money then? Well, Elon has noted that he would be okay with special voting arrangements that would give him more control without giving him more financial stake in the company. That's what a dual-class voting structure does. It would give some people more voting control for their shares than others. But he's also noted that's currently not possible under Delaware law. He even complained, fairly, I'd add, that companies that aren't publicly traded can indeed use dual-class voting structures to give control to CEOs without giving them more physical shares, but that as soon as a company is traded, they can't, at least not in Delaware. At the moment then, and I'm not a financial or a legal expert, it does appear the only likely way would be for Elon Musk to be awarded more shares. And if you are looking at a massive debt from a $44 billion purchase that's not going your way, gaining shares in a company that is valuable would be one way to negate that particular problem. Some might suggest that Elon Musk is merely trying to protect Tesla and its AI vision from the naysayers. That this is all about the big picture of autonomous vehicles, affordable transit, and a future where work isn't required, but rather is an optional pursuit for those who really, really want it. Yet, and hi, this is where my personal opinion comes in, if there's one thing that science fiction has taught us, it's that even in the most rosy vision, like Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future in Star Trek, inequality still exists, and there will always be those of us who suffer at the hand of progress when one person, one company, or one group of people are given disproportionate power over others. It might be that Elon Musk is looking to raise more money to save him from the terrible wreck that X has frankly become. It might be that he's trying to cement his position at Tesla from being ousted, just as Steve Jobs once was. Or it might be that he's trying to get a more, as he sees it, proportionate reward for the big risk that is developing AI. He himself has warned against it, and maybe he believes that his reward for allowing Tesla to capitalize on AI should be greater, or he will, as he has hinted, take his AI elsewhere and develop it at a different firm. A firm which, I'd surmise, he'd also be very likely not to take public, given how much he's actually hated Tesla being public. But hey, look, as I am now sharing my personal opinions on this, it's also very much worth noting that when you are in a position of absolute power and you are surrounded by people who worship and adore you and who wouldn't dream of questioning you, eventually that will change. And the harder you dig in and try to change the rule books to your favour to keep control, the more likely is that that change from your power to someone else's will be thoroughly unpleasant. The history books do play testament to that as well. See, at the beginning I told you about Ugg the Pathetic, but what I didn't tell you was that Ugg's progeny, after years of shame and ridicule, frankly got fed up one day with Ugg's line, and then things changed in a way that Ugg would not have enjoyed. Had Ugg and Ugg worked together, it wouldn't have happened that way. No one person should have absolute power, no matter what you read on X. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure that we can be 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, about $10.08 per year. A huge welcome to our newest supporters: Tantalus A. Bond, Michael Baker, Christopher Lawrence, David J. Stober, Noah Tutak, and Ian Hoffman. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have an old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at, address also below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below. This month, we're celebrating Electric for Everyone with an amazing new t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator, Erin. Get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you very soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we all think that this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.